She sends them digitally.
It's recording.
And then
Is it 4:30 out?
it's
Close.
It's
4:29.
called like it's
The law work is medical.
it's years. Years like that.
Just
The table contents.
So you guys had a little meeting?
Otherwise, only other option is but I want only on the one since. Yeah, they're dealt with that so well. Yeah, we're just most six has very good.
So we talked about what was agenda tonight. That was everything we came. More questions?
Well, we'll be working on.
Tracks.
Yeah.
Doing that one at a time.
Well,
we're.
but the requirements we have now, right? I mean, so no point in looking at those numbers.
Well, the implementation. And sometimes.
So if we have middle school on here, why don't we have all the other middle school things on here? Yes. but other middle school.
Not yet, no, this is just mine.
Track. There's not softball.
There's not, okay.
I think
that's
that's the only school.
Everything else has.
So, but we should make sure that the.
Is that the thing that Rob emailed over?
It's on the window.
The Head Start?
Yes.
Is that the contract?
Yeah.
I have to, so I'm gonna email me like, so I have that until I get some of the.
Okay. You can follow that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I always.
I'm going to call this meeting to order. I'm going to start by taking roll from my left, please.
D.G. Zimmerman.
Rob Delmas.
Elida Snow.
Ron Goodman.
Tony Regal.
Walter Schneider.
Totally, Catherine.
Okay, at this time, I invite any member of the audience to make a comment on any non-agenda item. Okay. Then we will be moving on to buildings and, or board reports. So buildings and grounds. Which these will need, I don't know if that's you or not, but these will need to be updated on the agendas. So Rob is no longer on the Buildings and Grounds Committee, and we need to add our Athletic Committee to these.
Who's on Buildings and Grounds?
Tony.
And myself.
Rose and Rob.
I'll
No,
update them.
and Ellen. Excuse
I
me.
got that.
Okay.
Okay, I'll make sure
So,
you get that.
yeah, just as long as it's updated on the agenda. I would have talked to her about it today, but I didn't realize till just a second. Okay, so buildings and grounds then.
Yeah, big issue on buildings and ground, and I'm just gonna share this out. Okay, this. Pass this down. There's other things on that, but the buildings and ground, I think the biggest issue in talking with those guys, but the contract with Head Start, and one of our concerns is it's a 20-year lease, goes all the way to 2040, and it is exactly the same contract that we've had in the past. Nothing's changed other than the dates. The other issue is on first page of it, very at the bottom, B, early termination. They can get rid of it. They can get out of the contract, but we can't. I've shared information with the guy, Paul Valdez, and he has not given me information back. I don't know. He hasn't. He was really lickety split for a long time, and then when it came to that, that ended. So I don't know how to best talk about that, but 20 years is a long time. And I remember 20 years ago when we started that contract, and there was some concern about, well, how do we get out of a 20-year contract? And a lot of things can change in 20 years. So that is my only concern on there.
I have a question about that. So isn't CDI only going to have control for 1 year?
Correct.
And then we'll have to go back
And
to
then-
a contract with Head Start, or did they just take over?
This is CDIHS, so that stands for whatever it is, but I can't remember what it is by now, but the HS part is Head Start. So they will take over for a year and then hand it over. So I'm assuming the contract would go with that because that's what it mentions there, CDIHS
So this is the same contract that Head Start had with us
verbatim,
previously, they just took over?
verbatim, yep.
Okay.
Ron, the only problem I see is I know when Melody met with them, they said that there's no guarantee they will be able to hand it over to Head Start. That they have been over some schools as many as 10 years.
The CDI people,
Yes.
That was a long.
So, I mean, that's just something I think we need to think about when we're dealing with this.
I have concerns myself as far as we've always had pretty good relationships, and I just, if something changes and it's a different group, I could see that being more concerning. One of my, as I was reading through this, and it's my favorite thing to read actually, but everything has to be up to federal standards. For example, like the playground, it's not up to federal standards, and so I asked that question. I said, well, what happens the day that we sign this contract and you tell us that we have to spend $30,000 to make the playground up to snuff? And whatever else you might find. And what they said is that they would put in for a one-time grant to upgrade that facility, and they have done that in the past. If that makes any sense. The parking lot, the boiler, those things, that they've all been very good about that.
They've been very good to us.
So, yeah, I guess I don't know if I'm being overly anxious about it, but it does, yeah.
So there's gonna be a lot of changes next year with them, is that?
Yeah,
Or-
so that's a good question, Walter, but I don't know the whole deal as far as why they lost their grant.
Okay,
I've heard a lot of speculations, but obviously whatever the regulations were that were taking place, they didn't. So they take that grant away and then they bring in this CDI, and they literally work for the government, and nice bunch of people. I took them down the Swing Bridge, and so they put everything back the way it's supposed to, and my guess is they're going to have a hard time fulfilling all the requirements, like teachers ought to be certified, and that's a tough one. So I don't know how this will go forward. I guess the main conversation on this is, there's going to be a bunch of changes that they have to make to follow all the procedures that have to be done there. And it's a federal program, so everything is pretty sticky.
Yeah.
I mean, even the height of the placement of all the fire extinguishers, they had to go in. They changed a bunch of things.
is it a possibility to sign like a shorter term lease for that and then look at it after because we did that recently with the baseball board, because there's a bunch of changes coming with how it's gonna be run and different things, and even like with the high school team leaving, the area, concession stands, I work with Nick with that a lot, and so, we just signed a 1-year lease because we used to sign a 20-year lease with the city to have the park. And then we realized that the people that signed that lease, their kids are already like having kids or playing baseball. So we thought that was a little too long. So we just did a 1-year lease until we could kind of fix all the things that need to be fixed and then go from there. I don't know if that would, work with this situation at all.
Even when Tony emailed me back, said they have an option out. Why don't we? Could there be a situation?
Yeah, that was a good call.
And honestly, that's kind of where I started thinking, So I did ask that question. They have not responded in email for me.
So have we signed this yet?
Mm-mm.
We haven't, okay.
No,
So we can,
will the softball field be a problem with this? Because we did all that and then it became a problem with Head Start. We had to work around some of their grant deals that we couldn't do.
That's a really good question.
Okay. And it was just like time where we could actually,
Maybe, yeah, the traffic.
Traffic.
From like
when people
Time of
could
the
do
day.
it.
20 to 4, I think, was the,
yeah, pickup time and,
Yeah, and
okay,
So the pickup time on that, nobody should be it shouldn't be very, how many times are they gonna be in there?
It was
before
only
3
when we
o'clock?
had games and like teams were showing up at 2:30, that was a problem for them.
Mhm.
But they did, I mean, they worked well with it, so it worked out, but we didn't realize that until a game.
The CDI gonna be
Yes,
As
To the-
cooperative?
calling the police because
Yeah.
a high school bus shows up at 2:30. They drop off some high school kids to start warming up. I think that's.
Good point.
maybe
That was
last-
our problem.
Yeah.
Is there a local contact person we talk to? Or,
no,
so you can pass it on to us? I mean, I guess you're gonna talk to them about the softball
Well,
situation.
hopefully they hire a local director. I don't know if they hire
yeah,
that
but
person.
CDI will be there for a year, one school year. Yeah, those are good questions and, yeah, good. And again, they were, I mean, the first little bit emailing back and forth incredibly fast. I mean, we're talking like 2 minutes, there's an email, and I haven't got anything for a while, and I don't know, maybe they're on another project or something like that, but I guess my question is this, even as I look on that first little bit, buildings and grounds, the contract, CDI is a 20-year contract, you know, and I'm still waiting for like, is there any way that we could get out of this? And even in my mind, I look at this and I don't want to, you know, throw a bunch of shade on this, but in 20 years from now, is it possible we might need that school? I mean, it's shrinking right now, but it may not always shrink. And 20 years is a long time. And I remember that same conversation 20 some years ago. We had that same conversation. Well, what if we need it? Well, we haven't needed it in 20 years, but you know, just be curious. I'm gonna shut up and see
It's a good point.
His
It's
thoughts are.
20 years before we closed Station Wood, we would have never guessed that.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
things change.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay, anything else on building and grounds, anybody?
Is it okay if I try to get some more information? I can share that out to the board if they will give us anything, or if this is just like the Head Start contract that is, you know, so we got
Well,
it off and got it done.
I mean, I feel like, and I could be wrong, but we kind of hold the cards. It's our building, and then, you know, there's some negotiations to contracts, and you know.
Is it something the lawyer needs to look at, Ron?
Not a bad idea. Yeah. So our highlighted areas. What are the concerns on this?
Length of contract is the big one, obviously, so. Okay, then we will continue on to policy. Fiji.
Well, they're interesting, aren't they, Cody?
He didn't think.
We will meet again on the 12th at 5:30.
We got part of the way through. Okay, technology.
We haven't had a meeting or set anything either.
Okay.
Quite
Wellness and safety. Is anybody, who else is on that?
I am there. We haven't had a meeting.
Okay. Calendar. So I know we only have a 1-year calendar, and so at what point do we start looking at the next one? Is it not till January or?
Did you really say that? No.
I'm hoping, no.
I think we would start about January, don't we?
That's what I thought. I had recalled that
When
date.
will Renee be gone? We
When's
want to
Renee
make sure
leaving?
she's here.
Yeah. Hers is sooner. Hers is like nowish, I think. No, she'll be gone during
No,
school.
it's during school.
You're right. I don't know. I can't remember the date on that.
I can't either, but
Okay, so nothing on calendar at this point. Nothing on transportation other than the long resolution I'm about to have to read coming up. And insurance.
I hate to say this, but I just read an article put out by Blue Cross saying their personal health insurance policies are expected to go up 23 to 33% next year.
Oh, that's gonna be a nightmare.
And I thought, oh, we're back to that.
When do we take over for the state thing? Do we have any
Is,
It's projected for next year, but
next
I
year
think
still?
there's maybe a little falling in.
oh no,
Okay.
I'll keep that. Oh. Yeah, it'd be terrible if that was the case.
I would, yeah.
Oh, okay. Then it's not on here, but activities is now a committee. So Tony, do you want to report on activities?
You bet. So we met with a bunch of the coaches, and so one of the hot topics was the 8th grade participation. And so it was asked by the soccer coach wanting to bring up enough players to fulfill the numbers so he could have a full team. And so we agreed upon a set number, and then we would look in the fall, right?
Yeah.
For soccer, if he had kind of a list of folks that he thought was coming or not coming. And so based off of that list, so some may not show up and he might need one extra or whatever, but he had given us a specific number. He liked the numbers 16 to 18 players. And so if I recall, it was, we agreed to bring up 5.
Yep.
5 kids that were 8th grade that could play. They had requested quite a few more, but we didn't want to take away from the high school kids as well. So that was a conversation. And then we spoke to, we reviewed the hiring of the coaches, and if the numbers were adequate and correct, it was tabled the spring head coaches. And so as we went through that, we agreed that that number was correct, and that based off of the number of students, that these spring coaches, the one that were on here, we reviewed and thought that that number was adequate. Didn't need to be changed. And we had a lot of discussion in that, so we only had that hour. We did set up another meeting for Monday, the 18th at 3:30. We do know that there's going to be a bunch of the coaches that were going to be gone, but at that time we also, it was going to give us a better realistic numbers for who's coming out for fall sports. It was hard to put something together not knowing. And then the only other thing that we talked about that we did move forward was the hiring for the grade school cross-country coach.
Middle school?
Middle school, I'm sorry, the middle school cross-country coach. The numbers didn't warrant hiring a third person, so.
And that will be on our agenda for a vote next week.
So question on the numbers, what was the numbers with the previous sports versus the numbers with the cross country?
Be more specific.
Well, the numbers warranted on the previous sports you discussed about of hiring the coaches?
That was based off of, so with the.
Soccer?
With track, is that?
Soccer, track, whichever one.
Well, yeah, so with track, basically we went through those 4 coaches, and then they have 2 volunteers. Really limits them as to what they're able to do because there's so many events going on all at the same time, and the coaches have to be spread out. With the running event, it's one event, the coaches are right there. They only had, there was 20 to 22 kids, and then there was an additional 5, if I recall, that were on that list that we had for the middle school.
Middle school cross country.
Yeah, and so it didn't warrant having
Well, and track's different too, because you have 17 events. You know,
I was saying it was
specific
event
events. It's not
specific.
just a race.
Yeah, very, very. So, yeah, based off of that, having a head coach and an assistant coach, which is what they do have, fell in line with the numbers with softball, with tennis, and the others.
How many kids are on the cross country game?
There were 20 to 22 high school kids, and then they had a list of 5 middle school kids potentially. And Ron had asked that question.
It's basically 20-some, right?
There's about 20.
There was 5 of the, were grades 5 through 6. Remember?
That's right.
That was the conversation.
Because we don't offer middle school sports to 6th
Right.
graders except for track and cross country.
So we talked about whether there should be a middle school coach
Yeah.
but the numbers didn't warrant that, with only 5 or 6.
There's 5 or 6 going to be
Kids.
6th graders.
Correct.
What about 20 total? between 7 through 6, 8 through 6.
6 through.
Yeah.
We still felt like because it was a running sport, it could all be coached together, like the assistant coach could take the beginning high schoolers and the middle schoolers, and it can be, because it's one thing versus, you know, throwing, jumping, running of track. So it's kind of where it becomes, those bigger numbers become okay. So,
You were part of this too?
yes, I'm part of the
Did
athletic committee.
other one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Me.
Lynn Rob.
Okay. Well, just for the record, I don't understand how you have 15 to 20 kids and you can't afford them a coach with my taxpaying dollars.
And we're also at a point, because last year we cut coaches, we cut a middle school wrestling program because of budget. So would it be right to add another, when we took one away, you know, and that's tough.
Well, the wrestling coach was there, and he
And he,
and he had you know, it's wrestling 20 more athletes than what they had. His numbers were even higher, and he only had 2 coaches. So based off of what there was,
and that's the middle school wrestling program I'm talking about. We cut it with our budget cuts.
Right.
Rid of it.
Yeah, I went to little guys.
They still have the wrestling program.
We still have wrestling
Yeah.
program. Still got wrestling,
it's funded by
but
Green Jay.
by parents.
Yeah.
How about like, I know we're talking spring sports here a little bit, but with golf, I mean, how many athletes are playing golf? And I mean, it's just
Only one-
right?
just one
And
coach and a
then
volunteer.
volunteers, yeah.
Yeah,
But
and I
I
think,
know Dooley does a little bit with them and stuff, but
and they're expecting about 10 this year.
10, okay, is that about average then?
Those should be good, because we were at
That's a
7
good
last year.
number.
Oh, okay, nice,
Yeah.
good.
With 8th graders.
Yeah,
7 with
that's
8th
good.
graders.
Been watching Reese.
Yeah, yeah.
If someone watched my swing, I need 2 or 3 coaches as well. Just for me.
I think with 20 projected middle schoolers coming out, and of that, I'm not sure how many are 6th graders, but they're within that same group of kids for that team of cross-country kids. Yeah, I think it warrants a coach, but if the money's not there, then that's something else. But I guess you're saying the money's not there.
Well, you know, and recalling back to this too, is that the head coach of the cross country and then the assistant coach would be kind of the head coach of the middle school. And they didn't have any meets, but one. There was something in Eureka, so it wasn't, there really wasn't a need to have a third coach because there wasn't going to be separate meets anywhere. They actually didn't have them. So with that being said, you're basically just running a practice with the high school kids.
You think golf could become a little bit more popular in this town for kids now with Rick's, like just being out there and kind of in the public eye too? I think that could be something.
It hurt us when
I
Troy
mean, I know I'm getting way
separated.
ahead of.
Troy
this, but-
separated from us. There was, you know, some folks that wanted to take over that coaching and they got the kids convinced. So we're trying really hard. I sit on the board of the golf course, so we're trying really hard to get Troy to participate again. I mean, they have no place to practice. They bought a simulator, they put it in there, but it's, once a program dies, it's hard to rejuvenate it.
Yeah,
Just going back to the cross country though, real quick, it is on next meeting's agenda, it will be voted on.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, I don't expect much different from this board, but, yeah, I don't think it's fair to the players either, if you put a bunch of middle schoolers with a bunch of high schoolers, you could run circles around them either, you're not, it's a disservice to that group of athletes as well, so.
Okay, anything else from the athletic committee?
No,
Okay, then we will move on. It doesn't look like we have any resignation, retirement, reduction of force, or non-renewal. But we do have staff contracts, so we'll move on to staff contracts or transfers. Do we want to separate them or? Let's go ahead and separate them, I think.
That'd be great.
I move we hire Caitlin England for the Libby Elementary School, .5 teacher instructional coach.
Second.
I have a motion by BG and a second by Rob to approve Caitlin England as a halftime Libby Elementary School instructional coach. Any questions or comments? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. Okay, Mr. Beal.
I move that we hire Scott Beagle as the Libby Middle School, High School principal.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by BG and a second by Tony to approve the hiring of Scott Beagle as Libby Middle High School principal. Any questions or comments?
Scott want the job?
I don't think you have a choice.
I
Sorry,
hate-
good.
That's why we were giggling.
I hate to say this, but somebody says, well, George Gerard wanted to come see you, and I said, when he gets there, make sure that he hasn't figured out how to file the chain off.
It says something about a 35% raise increase or something. To take the last minute,
Sorry, my hearing's bad, you gotta speak up.
Is that a negative number or no?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. Okay, Libby Middle School ELA teacher, Rebecca Siegmiller.
I'll make a motion that we accept Rebecca Siegmiller as the LMS ELA teacher.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Rob and a second by Tony to approve Rebecca Siegmiller as Libby Middle School ELA teacher. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. Okay, moving on to Tim Whalen.
I'll make a motion to hire Tim Whalen, middle school football head coach.
Second.
I have a motion by Tony and a second by BG to approve the hiring of Tim Whalen as Libby Middle School football head coach. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. Okay, moving on to spring coaches, which is the list you have beside you.
I'll make a motion for the 2025-26 spring coaches, high school track, Josh B. and Dan Rose, Jim May, Tim Odell, softball, Kellen McDonald, Tyler Houston, tennis, Kyle Hanna, Terry Odewald, middle school track, Brittany Katzer, Cooper Mills, Lonnie Miller, and Bill Moe.
Second.
I have a motion by BG and a second by Rob to approve the 2025-26 spring coaches as listed. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. Okay, let me find this resolution. Transportation resolution. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of Libby School District Number 4 shall during the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025, furnish transportation and/or individual transportation to all eligible transportees as defined in Section 20-10-101 Montana Code Annotated. Be it further resolved that in the implementation hereof, the following school bus routes are hereby established subject to the approval or adjustment by the County Transportation Committee. Libby School Bus Routes 2025-2026. Route 1, Granite Creek Road, Old Snowshoe Road, 47 miles. Route 2, River Road, Bighorn Terrace, 49 miles. Route 4 has been discontinued. Route 5, Airport Farm to Market Road, 67 miles. Route 6, Crystal Lake, 161 miles. Route 7, Handicap Bus, 50 miles, but varies. Route 8, Blackwell Trail Court, Ponderosa Heights, 78 miles. Route 9, Bellevue Trailer Court, Cedar Creek, 29 miles. Route 10, Terrace View Road, Highway 2 South, 42 miles. Route 11, Rawlings Tracks, 44 miles. Route 12, MKN Village, Riverview Trailer Court, 48 miles. Route 13, Farm to Market Road, Whitehaven, 40 miles. Route 14, Bobtail, Pipe Creek Road, 66 miles. Route 15, Flower Creek Road, Parmenter Hill, 30 miles. Route 16, 5th Street Extension, 46 miles. Route 17, Libby Creek, Highway 2 South, Whitehaven, 70 miles. Route 18, Granite Lake, Cabinet View, Woodland Heights, something. I don't know what that stands for, but 70. McGrade, maybe. 72 miles. Dated July 24th, 2025. Thunder.
Thunder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did that with the Warriors.
Okay, so that is the resolution. I need a motion to approve it, please.
I so move.
Second?
I have a motion by BG and a second by Rob to approve the transportation resolution for 2025-26. Any questions or comments? My only comment was we drive a heck of a lot of miles.
How many bus routes are 160 miles?
I know, that's crazy.
It's crazy when you can be 60 miles out of town and still be in Libby. Same with Troy, like up in the Yak, you're
Mhm.
almost in Canada, and nope, you're still Troy, Montana,
Still Troy,
59935. So
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. Okay, consideration of review for the agenda on Monday, the 11th. Sorry, gotta get back to it. Is it not attached?
In the hard copy.
Okay, I might need it because I don't see it in my packet in here. It might have been in the first one, but okay. It looks like we'll be setting our monthly meetings for September on the 2nd and the 8th. Consideration of July minutes. At this point, it looks like we're still looking for some teachers.
We're almost got them done though.
Good.
I'm actually interviewing for a shop teacher, good shop teacher tomorrow.
Yay.
So that-
Yeah, I'm really excited.
That's right up there with the party in Red Sea as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Pretty hopeful that he works out for us.
It looks like in new business, we just have some office records, some other meal price increase conversations, so. Okay, we don't have to vote on that, right? That's next meeting. Yeah, I don't think there's speech. Okay, so any questions or comments on the agenda? Thank you. Okay, so then moving on to the consideration of the lease agreement with the CDI Head Start Plummer Building, which we kind of already discussed.
Mhm.
Do you have anything else to kind of add?
No, I really don't. In fact, conversation's good, but I guess my thought is it's been the same contract for a long time, and if we can't negotiate something out of that, I don't know. We do want to have Head Start next year, I think, that's for sure. So.
Well,
Yeah,
I think Elida's spot on though with her comment that we hold all the cards. We have the building. Yeah. If they want to use the building and have a program, and I can't imagine that they're not going to be willing to. I mean, the things that we discussed were pretty simple. You know, hardly ever do you have a contract where only one person can get out of something. Both parties usually have some type of,
Correct. Yeah.
you know, literature that
Or
says
just-
that. So
I think that's the only thing I saw too, was just,
yeah, I read that report from Dave too. Yeah, you know, he had, so, I like how he started though with attorney thing from a divorce, but.
Yeah.
He had some good points, and it was mostly about the safety of that playground equipment. So, yeah, making sure who would be responsible for it, and maintaining it.
Yeah, I think it becomes a very bad financial deal for us if we have to move everything.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it sounds like, listening to what you said, these guys are a lot like life safety coming in with fire extinguishers and all that other stuff, and they have a lot of strict guidelines and rules. I'm really interested in the thing that Nick and Scott were talking about though, about softball being out there and what happens if we don't have something in there, you know, because they have a lot of 2 o'clock, 2:30 games where JV are playing and
Usually start at
all of a
3:30
sudden,
early. But-
fans start showing up there and
Yeah, but they'll get there too.
yeah, right at pickup time. Yeah, I think to protect ourselves, because that's going to happen.
but most of the people park, I would assume for the softball, they're
We're usually
parking
parking
in the back, right?
But it was just being on the facility alone
Oh,
that they
okay.
had a problem with.
Oh,
Because nobody goes to the front of the school. I mean, it was.
yeah, it's all to the back. That's what I was wondering, if the buses are dropping the kids off at the back
If
part.
we could get power there, we'll have lights, and we can always play later.
That was gonna be my question.
Yeah, as soon as the power's done,
Yeah.
it'll solve this
There
problem.
was the issue with the Head Start contract
Yes.
saying
No
having non-school,
Non-employees.
not having employees on the property during, the 8
School
to
hours.
3:30 timeframe.
Okay.
Where you've got 20 high school girls that are a coach. I mean,
Yeah,
we see that was pretty trivial, but the director at the time was kind of like, no, our policy says we cannot have,
They had pretty strict guidelines on it.
Yeah.
When the grandkids were there to pick them up.
Yeah.
You had to be in your designated spot or somebody's yelling at you.
Since spring comes, we got a game on Tuesday, and it's Monday, and we're in a big
Yeah.
fine over, just
Yeah.
be proactive.
And out of town guests coming to watch kids, they're not gonna know.
No.
They're just gonna pull in a parking lot.
yeah, there's personal.
So one of the things that really concerned me was, well, a couple of things, but, when they said, well, you're gonna have to update that playground, and I'm like, oh, that's more money than we're actually getting paid for. I mean, it's more than the lease, this sounds like a bad deal.
Expensive.
And I said, what would you, and he said, the bark I said, yeah, the bark needs to be fixed up, and he said, I recommend not bark. And I said, what do you recommend, pea gravel? He goes, well, only if it's been sanitized.
Yeah.
I don't know how to sanitize pea gravel, but it just, wow.
A lot of the playgrounds using that, like, basically old chewed up rubber tires, where they just, recycle it and put it down so
Correct.
it's soft when the kid falls off the top of the slide.
The opportunity for something to happen. 2 weeks ago, that tree fell down. And it fell right through the center of all that stuff and didn't touch nothing. Yeah, it laid parallel to the high school's brand new stuff out there and the playground equipment, went right between everything. And it was a big fir tree that went down.
Huh.
Yeah, and there's 20 others standing right out there. So, yeah, they were lucky that it didn't smash nothing.
So I'm assuming this will go back on an agenda once we get some answers to some questions.
And my thought is we can add it to next week for the
Okay.
regular meeting.
Okay,
It'd be nice to have a solution.
okay, so be looking for that next
And
week.
here's the three things we're looking for is we need an option for Libby to get out. If some, and again, if a mine opens up, if a mill opens up, we could be in a
Growth
situation.
options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what are we responsible for? And that's the big issue, and that is, what other things for getting things up to code. The last thing is a solution for the softball, or at least understanding what we need to do.
And I think length of contract. I think we need to really look at a more reasonable length in there also.
Yeah, 20 years is
Yeah,
very,
I
like I
mean,
said,
even if it's
Nikki
5 or
pointed out,
10.
20 years, and maybe what Ron said, mine comes in, or,
Yeah.
there's all that growth over there in the, Port Authority. I mean, Nomad, from what I've heard, is planning on trying to get, a couple hundred more employees. I mean, it could really bring a lot of,
Could we, if it was a 10-year, we could last, 5 more years or something, but if 20, that could be a long time.
Something will happen in 20 years, even if there's not a mill or anything else, there's going to be people moving here.
yeah.
And that's my take on it, is I see what's taking place with the traffic and just real estate taking place.
Well, even with the
It's growing.
interest rates, I mean, that's my business, home inspections and stuff. I had 6 home inspections last week and 8 this week, and most of them are new people moving in. So, I mean, that's 14
Yeah.
couples, families that are
Yep.
buying homes in this area, either Libby or Troy. I mean, that's a lot of,
Over
that's a
20
lot,
years.
and that's just 2 weeks.
I would almost guarantee that 20 years we'll be having to do something
Yeah,
differently for organizing our schools and building.
yeah.
Okay.
That sounds,
Then-
you guys have convinced me. I was concerned, and I appreciate the clarity on that.
Thank you. Then moving on, I need a motion to adjourn, please.
I still move.
Second?
I have a motion by BG and a second by Rob to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor?
I
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. Okay. I'm gonna let Stacy stop the recording, and then we'll move on to our work session.
Your real treat.
Your
Your real treat.